Morning, everyone. This is take two of our inferencing lesson that should have gone out yesterday. I'm so sorry. I could think my video was just too long, so I'm going to break it up into two parts today to walk you through the first page. Okay. So, this is the worksheet that we're going to be starting with today. It's called Making Inferences. So, for those that don't remember, we've been talking about inferences throughout the entire year. But an inference is something that you take from the reading and take your information that you already know about life and then make a prediction or make a guess, an educated guess on what's going to happen next, okay, or what is happening at that current moment. The example that I tend to use in class all the time is if you walk outside and you don't have an umbrella and it's raining, you're probably going to get wet, right? So that was an inference that we've used in class a lot, just based on your personal knowledge, based on information that you've taken from me. You know that you're probably going to get wet, right? So I do have a short video clip for you guys about what an inference is.
All right, you guys, pull over. That's the bank's money right there. I caught you red-handed. You're going to spend a long time behind bars.
Cut! They're not going to jail. That's not in the script.
Are you serious?
Check it out. First, you leap onto their car and yell, "All right, you guys, pull over." And then you say, "That's the bank's money right there." Then I caught you red-handed. Then nothing. See, there is no line about spending time behind bars.
I guess I made an inference. Look. The alarm is going off at the bank. They're running from the police. And they have bags of cash from the bank in the car. I made an inference that they were going to jail because of what they did.
You made an inference? What on earth are you talking about?
Well, I read the text. I thought about what I know, and so I made an inference.
Oh, now I get it. Of course. In real life, they'd have to be arrested and charged. And there'd be a trial and lawyers. And before we knew for sure, they were going to jail.
What if I say, you guys are going to need a good lawyer?
Yes, that works for me. All right, everyone. We'll do it again.
All right, guys. So the inference that the character in the story made was all about he knew from his past experience that because they had robbed that bank, because they had the money in the car, that those people were most likely going to jail. Okay. So we're going to be reading this story and making an inference on here. Okay. So the directions say read the following scenario, use what you already know about life, then search for clues in the text to make an inference about what is happening. Okay. So I'm looking for clues in the text to try and figure out what is happening in my story. So I'm going to use my highlighter feature here so I can highlight key information as I go just to make sure that I know what's going on. Okay. So it said, Jake's heart was beating so fast, he felt like it might come through out of his chest. He ascended one step at a time, getting further and further from the ground below. I like this word ascended here, mostly because I know that that might be a tricky word, but ascended means that we move up. We go up on a ladder, we move up through the floors of a house, but it's going up, okay? So he's going up one step at a time, getting further and further from the ground below him. So it sounds like he's getting really high off the ground, right? His mom said, "You can do it." He glanced over at the lifeguard. Ooh, there's a lifeguard now. That kind of gives us more clue about where we are. He glanced over at the lifeguard as he approached the edge of the highest possible platform. So we know he's going to be stopping on the platform. A platform, if you don't know, is just like a flat surface that you can stand on. In this case, we know it's high off the ground and it's over by where a lifeguard is. So she nodded as if to say, "It's all clear, go ahead." He counted to 3 in his head, closed his eyes, and stepped onto the platform. He knew he could do it. I like this part here about stepping on the platform as well, because we know that that was the end goal. Okay? So down below, it says use what you know about life combined with the clues in the text to make an inference. Where was Jake? So we have to answer this question here. Where was Jake? And what was Jake trying to accomplish? Okay? So we know that we have to figure out where he was and what was he trying to do. We have to use these clues in the text as well as our own knowledge to help figure it out. So I'm going to bring a text box down and change my color of font. And we're going to answer some of these sections. Now, I know it's kind of hard to see on mine just because it's a little cropped off at the bottom, but you should have your packet in front of you as we do this. That way you are able to write what I write. So this first part here says clues in the text. So even though it's kind of hard to see the things that I highlighted up here, I'm going to be writing in those things that we highlighted together. So we know that he ascended the ladder, right? And I'm just going to do short little words because I don't have a lot of room so you guys can still see, okay? So we know he ascended the ladder. We know there was a lifeguard, okay? We know that he was trying to get to a platform. And we also know that he did step on the platform, right? He made it there. There's me and my the again. Okay. The next section over here talks about clues that you already know. So I'm trying to think of times that when I was a kid, I might have gone up on a platform where there was a lifeguard and I might have been a little nervous. So I'm thinking of things at the water park. I used to go to the aquatic center when I was a kid all the time, and they had things like slides that were really high off the ground. They had things like diving boards. They also had something called a high dive where you would just walk up and then you would jump off. So those are the types of things that I'm going to write down. So I'm thinking of tall slides. I'm thinking of diving boards, and I'm thinking of high dives, right? So, based off this information that we already knew, that we heard from the story, and based off of the information that I already knew based on my childhood of going to the water park, I can make an inference about what I think is happening in the story. So, because it didn't say anything about him moving, I'm going to go with it's probably not a diving board. It also didn't say how he was going to come down, so it could have been a tall slide and it could have also been a high dive, right? My inference personally is that he was on a high dive. He went to a platform on the top and then was going to jump off. But maybe you have a different inference that Jake was going to go down a tall slide, okay? So, our first question said, where was Jake? And I think based on this lifeguard part, we can say Jake was at a water park. Okay. The second question says, what was Jake trying to accomplish? Now, this is the part that inference can be a little trickier. Okay. But like I said, for my inference, I'm going to say he went on a high dive. You might think that he went on a tall slide or maybe a diving board, right? So I'm going to say Jake was trying to jump off a diving board. Okay, that is my personal inference. If you have a different inference that you think is happening, it's okay to have a different inference. It doesn't have to be the exact same. Okay, this is the end of part one. I'm going to walk you through how to do the next two parts here in just a second with my second video. Thanks, guys.